Alright guys, welcome back. It is Monday. The car is now a certified ripper, I think. And today we're just gonna do a couple small things. We're gonna weld this 373 diff and we're gonna swap it out with the 315 diff. So that's my biggest goal for right now. I did order a new clutch disc, so I'm gonna see how bad this one is. I'm gonna take, once I swap the diff out and stuff, I'm gonna take it for some driving around town and see how bad it is. I don't know if I completely smoked it out or what the deal is, but I mean the clutch is only a couple 2 months old, so it's a pretty fresh clutch and there's very little driving on it. So that was just me being stupid and dumping it in third gear like a knucklehead. So I bought these drag radials here just to see what the car can do on the drag strip, but I don't know, drag racing's like, it's not really my thing. It's not that cool. I'd rather get into drifting, so I think we're going to make this a drift car. So with that being said, having the 315 torsion that doesn't quite lock up, or it will sometimes unlock on a slide, not really the best differential for that application. For drag racing, this is a great diff. I mean, in a straight line, this thing rips. But, you know, I think the 373 is gonna give us a little more bite. It's a little taller of a gear, and you know, it's not quite as aggressive as the 410 we had in it, but you know, it's really, it should be a fun ratio. Plus, I want to make some kind of rear bash bar to protect the wheels a little bit. So I'm gonna kind of eyeball something up here and see how what the best way to go is with that. And I also want to see how it looks. I mean, because it has to aesthetically work with this car too, so I don't want it to be this big goofy thing hanging off that's kind of weird looking, but I think we can come up with a good solution. So that will be second to the diff, and then after that, man, I think we're pretty good. A little preheating action here, and also degreases as it gets hot. All right, we got a little 3/16 plate cut. We're just preheating the crap out of these gears and the plate, and we're gonna weld the piss out of it. All right, some of you guys probably gonna get a kick out of this, but I'm actually going to reuse my diff oil because it might have 30 miles on it since I put this diff in. So we're gonna do the old ghetto freaking boy diff oil swap. Also because I don't have any diff oil and I don't feel like running out and getting it right now because I have to unhook my truck and trailer. But this stuff's mint. Like I said, it's got maybe 30 miles on it, so it's going to be just fine. So one thing to notice, if you are swapping differentials from E30 to Z3, this is a Z3 input shaft, and this is a E30. You can see how this has like these relief cuts here. That's for the Z3 axle. So the E30 shafts won't fit. It's not a big deal. They just pop right out. I'll pop one out real quick so you can see. So just a little tip on how I do diffs. I actually undo the subframe and just drop it down a little bit. When you have solid mounts like I made, it's very easy. Stock mounts, not so much because the bolts usually get stuck in the sleeves. But then it gives you full access up on these top diff mounts, and because those are usually pretty tricky to get at. So just a little tip how I do it, and it turns a diff swap into like maybe an hour project total. All right guys, we got our new diff installed. We're gonna take it down the street, see how the 373 feels. Well guys, she's making some steam. The 373 feels light years better than the 410. The 315 was good, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. I'm not trying to go 180 miles an hour in this car too. So I'd rather have a fun, peppier car than, you know, a car that's gonna, you know, be the fastest car in the, you know, mile per hour wise on the planet. But man, that feels like a great compromise between the two. I was really shooting for like a 346. However, they're kind of hard to come by, and you know, I'm not interested in shipping one and paying, you know, $400 for an open diff or anything stupid like that. But man, this car feels fantastic. Light years. I mean, the power delivery feels completely different than it did before. It's really incredible. It's a blast. Now we just gotta get a freaking tire on it, because these things are totally useless at this point. All right, back at the shop, guys, and I am working on a bash bar. Now, I'm also doing something a little cool. My buddy Ty, he's doing all the fab work for Cleetus right now. I was like, hey man, I want to make this bash bar and I want to pick your brain about it because I don't want it to be some goofy looking thing hanging off the back of the car. He goes, hey, why don't you just make a diffuser? It'll kind of tie it in and kind of hide the bash bar. And I'm like, dude, that's the answer. So this is what we're doing. Obviously it's a prototype cardboard setup. I hope the lighting is okay here. The sun is pretty wild. But it's gonna be something along this lines, and then we'll just have the bash bar come down, meet the diffuser, and come and protect the wheels. That way, if I do slide or do a wall tap or something, it doesn't destroy my suspension immediately. At least I have a fighting chance. But that's kind of the idea we're going with right now. See how it works out. I got my mounting plates tacked on, so you can see I have two pieces of 1/8 inch plate. And obviously one gets welded to the car, the other gets welded to the bumper. And then we're just gonna do something like this. So we'll get both sides tacked up, make sure everything's even. And then I'm gonna work on the diffuser a little bit just to make sure it's all gonna flow together before we button it up here. All right, we got this tacked up. And I'm a very visual person, so I'm gonna roll it out, see how this looks. Make sure it's not too stupid here. I mean, honestly, it's really not the worst thing ever. Let's get this sucker on and see how it goes. That's gonna look sweet. Well guys, we have our cardboard aided design here, CAD. Ha 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 ha. And we're just using a jigsaw actually to cut this out. It's, oh geez, what was this? 63 thousandths, 5052 aluminum, and it cuts really good with a jigsaw. And that's a much better option in this application than cutting it with a plasma or something like that. Plasma will put too much heat in it, and this stuff is relatively thin, so you don't want it to start warping. Once this stuff gets any heat in it, it'll get squirrely on you. So the goal for this is to just get it cut out. Ty let me borrow a little brake, and we are going to just get this knocked out. All right, gotta do a little more trimming, but this is how we're looking. I like it. Adds a little flair to the rear of this thing. Once it's all painted though, it's gonna be super subtle and pretty badass. So, okay, these are welded on. They should stick. I didn't go crazy with the welding because I didn't want to get too hot. Now, moment of truth. We'll see how bad. Oh, that's really not bad. So you can see where it was welded. There's a couple little puckers, you know, from heat, but man, it's not as bad as I thought. You'll barely be able to see those when this is painted, so it's actually pretty good. It's not absurdly wavy or anything. I mean, there is a little wave in here, but we are going to screw it to this straight piece or rivet it or do something. So I'll probably rivet it on. So that will be just fine. It'll take that wave right out. So you know what? That's actually not that bad. I'm pretty happy with how that came out. Let's put it on the car again, get it trimmed up. I still have to trim out some of the diff area. This is where the fuel tank is. And I think we'll have to put a kink in it just a little bit to get it all mounted. But let's get it back in the car and see how it looks. Okay guys, we're getting the final fitment here. As you see, it's bowed up here. What I'm gonna do is probably just pop a couple rib nuts in the body here. And then, it almost sucks because I could have used these threaded studs, but we're just a little shy. It's actually hitting right up against them. And then I just have to trim around the fuel tank a little bit more. Just need a little more cut out there. Give that plenty of space. And that's really gonna be it. We're just gonna have the two fasteners in the front. I do plan on flat paneling the whole bottom side of this car at some point, but not right now. We just have a little more trimming to do here and there. We're just gonna mark that and get that trimmed out. And we're looking pretty good. Okay, we're just gonna throw in these two rivets for now. That way I can pull this off and weld this up, paint this, and then we'll rivet it all together. That way I don't have any bare metal up top. I always think I'll just rivet it all now, but that's kind of silly because I'll have bare metal where it's contacting each other. I mean, they're gonna rub anyways, but I'd rather not do that. So we'll just lower it down now, just see how this sucker looks. It's gonna be a little wavy, but that's okay. Those waves will come right out with the rivets. All right. First time we actually get eyeballs on this thing to see the quote-unquote stance of it. Yeah, I think that's gonna look pretty cool. Yeah, that'll work. So one thing I did do, I'm not sure if I showed you guys, but I actually recut the angle on this a little bit, raised it a little bit, hinged it back, and gave myself, about another inch of space. It was just a little too close. If I do run a taller tire or something like that, I don't want to have to get anywhere close to having an issue. So, hey, this is gonna be cool, man. What a little ripper. Freaking A. I'm digging it. I wasn't sure about it at first, but it's kind of growing on me. I think the idea is really gonna work. Especially with the big wing and everything, it really kind of just all comes together a little bit. All right, guys. Now that we've got it kind of half together, we're just gonna throw some weld on her. I'm using a pulse setting. I don't really like to use pulse with aluminum. So with chrome ollie, especially tubing, it makes a very predictable weld that is really nice. So we're just buttoning this up. I'm gonna weld as much as I can right now, then I gotta get out of here for the day. So I'll be back at this tomorrow, and I'm just gonna finish welding it tomorrow. I'll get it buttoned up. I'm gonna drill these rivets out, pop this off, sand this, get it ready for paint. Paint this, I do want to try to add a mount onto the diff, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know if we'll have enough time, but yeah, let's get moving here. Well, that does it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. One thing I do want to let you guys know is that the ZKart will be entering the Cleetus and Cars Burnout Contest. Now, I'm not going to go there and try to be a hero and, you know, be one of these guys who's going to blow the tires off and then blow the rims off once the tires blow off and then blow the car up and try to be a hero. That's not happening. So I'm just going there to have a good time, show the car off a little bit, give it a little rip, burn some tires, have fun, one of those deals. I also want to let you know my lease is going to be up at the shop in I think it's the end of July. So actually you can see I'm sitting on a little storage shed I'm building in my backyard for car parts and stuff like that. So unfortunately it looks like I'm going to be moving back into the house for a little bit until I can find a decent setup, but it's just the way it goes. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and keep an eye out for the car at Cleetus and Cars if I don't have a video sooner. We'll see you guys. Bye.